What young 49ers
Mhm.
or 49er, if I say to you, who's primed to bust out? Give me your breakout guy. Give me your guy. And maybe we've already discussed it. Maybe it's Schrader. I don't know. But give me your guy that, man, as sure as we're sitting here on July the 9th, that at the end of the month when we go to practice, the buzz is going to be about this guy. Who
You're going to
is
like
the
this answer, Larry.
buzz going to be about? I got to look at the roster here to kind of think about my answer.
I'm certain that we're going to go to the same spot. I got 3 names.
Who will have the buzz, buzz, the buzz, the buzz?
Here's the one that I think people are going to need to get the fly swatter out for.
Okay. Okay.
Darrell Luter.
Darrell,
apologies.
Darrell Luter Jr.
He'll have so much buzz that I'll learn to pronounce his name correctly. Darrell Luter.
I got a question about Darrell Luter.
Yeah.
Excuse
Doesn't
me,
that sound
sir.
like a better name?
It's Darrell.
Darrell.
It's like when I called, I said, "Hey, Terrell Owens." He's like, "It's Terrell."
Terrell
Owens.
Well, Luter, I think has a chance to really have an impressive career-defining training camp. And if you're a guy like Ambry Thomas,
looks the part. I mean, for those who haven't seen this guy on the practice field, talking about 6-foot corner, 190, really, really long legs, really long arms, just a dominating physique. They kind of, and he's got ridiculous arm length. I mean, I don't have it in front of me, but it was 98th percentile in the draft. He's smothering, and he played nothing but press man for the South Alabama Jaguars. So he's actually a very experienced press man corner with crazy length and athleticism. He's also kind of mature beyond his years. He's married. He's got a kid. He's just, this guy shows up with a briefcase. I mean, this guy's a pro's pro.
That kind of stuff matters to me when I'm talking about, okay, you got one spot for 3 dudes in effect. Rock Ya-Sin, Luter, Ambry Thomas. Yeah, you got about 3 spots. Maybe a Chase, Samuel Womack in there as well. I think Chase Lucas makes the team as the backup in the slot to Diamador Lenore. So you got, Womack. You're talking Rock Ya-Sin, Luter, Ambry Thomas. Only one survives. Give me the guy who's got his act together off the field as much as he is impressive on the field, because his head's not going to be spinning in that moment. He's grounded, and he is far and away the most interesting athlete of those 4, unquestionably. And I thought, in the limited times that I saw him in minicamp, it looked like he had taken a step forward. It looked like he was ready to come. Again, mean son of a bitch on the football field. Love that in the corner. I think if I'm Ambry Thomas, and I think there's some expectation here, Ambry Thomas is going to be in the mix for a starting job opposite Charvarius Ward. Well, Renardo Green came into camp and looked awesome. Isaac Yiadom came into camp and looked awesome. And now here's Ambry Thomas, who has been handed every opportunity, hasn't made the most of one yet. And I think he's already been caught by 2, if he indeed had the position. And I think he's about to get caught by 1, maybe even 2 more in Womack and Luter. But I'm going to pick Luter as the man to make the leap and maybe even get Ambry Thomas cut before the end of training camp, which I don't glee or I don't revel in that. But I do think that a lot of people have sort of penciled in Ambry Thomas because he did start so many games for this team as a cornerback on this team. And I think it speaks to the depth and the quality of drafting and free agent pickups that John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan have done, that a guy like Ambry Thomas, who still has something to give somebody, doesn't have anything left to give the 49ers because there's too much talent around him, and he's going to get bumped.
Cosmo says, Luter, please, Winters. All right.
I mean, okay. I don't know what those have to do with each other. I'm not a big D Winters guy in general, but heaven knows he's going to have an opportunity.
Yeah. Here's the thing. There's what people tell me and then what I see.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a person, me, I trust my eyes and what I see over what people tell me just across the board. So it's like
I like it
you
when
could.
people tell me stuff. I'd like
I
to
like it when people
corroborate
tell
it.
me stuff too, but there's always an agenda. You know, there's
Totally.
always an agenda. Or not always, and it's not always nefarious or anything. It's not, I'm
No.
not saying it's, but I'm just saying people judging people is imperfect. And
Totally.
so whether you're asking Fred Warner, who's the most impressive guy in the offseason, or you know what I'm saying, it's like his number one job is to be a really, really good middle linebacker and wear the green dot and be that player. He's not necessarily a pro personnel evaluator. So he did say D Winters. So at least from Fred's perspective, Winters is the most impressive.
Yeah.
I like Jalen Graham. I think Graham to me looks like he's very special. He's a very special player.
Yeah.
That can make lots and lots of tackles. And I think he's going to step in this summer and just really, really show what kind of player he is.
Is that
and
your
then
guy?
the other guys, I think Cowing is ready to roll. I mean, he's done it at 2 different programs. He's a good route runner. He's working on his routes. I love, when you've watched enough of this stuff, you can even evaluate the running against air. And Jacob Cowing's ability to stop and start and his route running against air is just very, very impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, he's really impressive. And I like the hands. I like the speed. I like the vertical separation. I know Brock wants to hit home runs. This kid is your ticket to home runs. And he's going to create real separation. So I like Jacob Cowing.
What's my comp been for him the entire time, Larry? Like, it's a best case scenario, but what's my comp been? Tank Dell.
Did you say Tyreek?
No, Tank Dell out of Houston.
Tank Dell.
And you think about what's Kyle Shanahan been doing all offseason.
Tank Dell might be a little smoother and very strong. This guy, this guy might be a little bit better route runner, I think.
I mean, it's that sort of tiny guy who has the home run potential and is just going to be trusted.
It's not just a burner; it's a burner with ball skills.
That's right. And you think about, okay, Kyle Shanahan every offseason, as any good coach does, he looks around and says, what are other teams doing that I'm not doing? And if I'm Kyle Shanahan and I'm trying to look for things to improve upon as a head coach and a play caller and an offensive coordinator, what's the first tape I'm putting in? I'm putting in Bobby Slowick's tape from the Houston Texans because he took a rookie quarterback, C.J. Stroud, who we all agreed had a lot of talent, and he made him the NFL's leading passer in his rookie year with a bunch of receivers that, no one saw that coming from any of them. No one saw the Houston Texans being that kind of a team last year. But Bobby Slowick, DeMeco Ryans, hell of a coaching operation, 1-2 there, and they have an exceptionally talented quarterback, and they knew what they were getting in these wide receivers, and they ran an air-it-out 11 personnel offense that was something to behold. It was like the Rams on steroids. It was almost like the greatest show on turf Rams back in the day. I know that's not necessarily the Shanahan tree, but it had a lot of the same concepts. Kurt Warner and Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt and obviously Marshall Faulk. That was the closest parallel I had. If I'm Kyle Shanahan, I have a quarterback in Brock Purdy who, as you said, wants to hit that home run ball, wants to air it out, wants to push it outside the numbers, wants to hit the deep shot, played Big 12 football for 4 years. This man is all about the spread. This man is all about the air ball. I got to get myself a Tank Dell. I got to get myself the equivalent of a Tank Dell. And to get a Jacob Cowing, I think that's what they're hoping he turns out to be. Can I throw 2 other names at you here, though, Larry?
Yeah, please do.
Okay, here's a dark horse one. The opportunity is immense for a Braden Willis to have a breakout season. Now,
he looks good.
I'm with you. When you watch this guy, you go, not so sure. Not so sure. But every now and again, you get these flashes. And we're not asking him to be the next George Kittle, an elite blocking tight end who can, also catch everything and anything. He just needs to catch the ball and just needs to, not let the guy run past him without getting a hand on him. And his athleticism as a tight end is something that's pretty impressive to behold. And I think that, we've suffered through Ross Dwelley for so long. Ross Dwelley wasn't giving you anything. I think this guy gives you a little bit of upside potential. And the tight end depth chart is weak, absolutely weak. I think Braden Willis has an immense opportunity to not just get playing time this year, but like serious playing time as a second tight end and as a bona fide pass catcher. We saw a little bit of it last year. I'm not sure any of those flashes encouraged anybody, but I saw just enough at minicamp to make me think, hey, there might be something here that's worth exploring. So that's my dark horse in Braden Willis. And then I'll go like straight up.
He didn't catch a ball last year, right? I mean, he didn't catch one.
I think he had one or two late in the season.
Did he?
I think
he
was
so.
on
At least I'm looking at their stats. I don't see him listed here.
Well, yeah, then in that case he didn't, because certainly.
But you know what? He looked great in the minicamp, and this guy can make catches. I'll say that I like Mason Pline. I'm the more I watched him in camp,
if I'm being honest. I thought he was.
He's
slow
a little
as
knock-kneed, but he's big. He's big and smart,
Oh, yeah.
and they've used him an awful lot. And you're right, the depth chart is not great. I think it's Willis and Kittle and Pline.
Yeah, I mean, and they
we'll
did.
see.
Who did they sign? They signed Logan Thomas. That doesn't do it for me. Cam Latu might as well not be on the team. They may. I mean, I'm not going to try to get anyone in trouble here, but like, he was injured. He wasn't that injured. They told him to go away. And he hasn't gotten healthy from his the real injury is the 49ers realized they fucked up big time by drafting him in the 3rd round, and he had to go. That was a colossal failure. My podcast co-host Jake Hutchinson loves. I mean, I played tight end for a while and tackle and all that. I love the tight end position, but he really enjoys breaking down tight ends. That's his sicko passion. And he had a grade on every 25 tight ends and. Not this past year, but the 2023 class. And the one guy out of all of them, he's like, you cannot draft him under any circumstances, was Cam Latu. That was the one guy. He's like, you can take the guy from Campbell University and you can take him in the 7th round. But Cam Latu, tight end at the University of Alabama, is undraftable. I have no idea what this guy does. And that's who the 49ers took. And just another 3rd round bust. Listen, Saubert is there. I think Saubert's going to be on the roster as the number 2 tight end, as the blocking only guy. I think that there's a pass catching role there. I don't think it's going to be Pline. I still think Pline needs some time. He is slow, but he does have the potential. And I think they need to foster that and work with that. I think it's Willis's opportunity. All he has to do is beat Logan Thomas. If he can't do that, then we got some problems, but I think he can. One other name I want to throw at you here, Larry, and I think that a lot of people have written this guy off. And I think that they're probably right to do so. But let me take a shot in the dark and back Spencer Burford for young player who takes the step forward, because it's now or never for Spencer Burford. And we know he has the talent. We know he has the ability. They're saying that, mostly it's a mental thing, that he can't stay locked in. He can't stay focused. He makes 1 or 2 errors a game, but those are colossal errors, as we saw in the Super Bowl, that lose games. They can't trust him. John Feliciano's got to come in and spell him. This is Spencer Burford's put up or shut up year, and they can't be spelling him. They can't be, working a rotation. He needs to come in at the beginning of training camp, kick ass from the jump, take the starting right guard job beyond a reasonable doubt from Pooney, from Kingston, from certainly Feliciano. Take it and run with it. And with the talent that he has, if he can lock in the way that he needs to lock in, there's a real shot that he's the guy that we're talking about at the end of training camp saying, wow, what an impressive player, and what an important pickup that would be for the 49ers to have a right guard that they could trust. Because as much as they like Colton McKivitz, I don't think there's anyone outside the building who feels confident in Colton McKivitz at right tackle. And center is a question mark with Jake Brendel. To have solidity and talent and upside and consistency at right guard would just be massive for the 49ers. And I think Burford has the talent to do it. I think he's sharp enough to do it. And I think he knows if he doesn't do it and show it in training camp, in these preseason games, his NFL career is going to get very, very adventurous very soon. And that doesn't seem like fun for anybody.
I think Pooney's going by him. I think if you said to me, I agree with Luter, and I'll throw Winters on D. On offense, I like Pooney and I like Cowing. And then, the deep sleepers, the guys that really caught my eye, but they're deep. And that's Pline, who's right now, the last guy on the depth chart. But like Tongues is not really NFL. Saubert to me looks stiff. Latu was a nightmare last year. Logan Thomas, I think his body's beaten up a little bit. And then you got Kittle and Willis. I think it's Kittle and Willis and Pline. We'll see how it shakes out.
I can't believe you haven't named the most obvious option here, Larry. I left him for you.
the big wide receiver option?
No.
You going Tariq Owens? You going Chris Conley?
I'm talking about Tanner Mordecai, Larry.
Well, that's what I was going to say. The deep dive guys. I like Pline and I like Tanner Mordecai. And I'm of the belief that that Brandon Allen, while he's a great guy, I don't think you can win games with him. And
Agreed.
Josh Dobbs, I think you can win a game.
But
I really believe, and we'll see, because it's hard to evaluate. It's really, really hard to evaluate the skill position guys, I think, sometimes in the OTAs and the minicamp, because it just doesn't, it's like if you can't be super high energy when you're just doing basic drills.
Mm-hmm.
And like, to me, Brock Purdy looked really, really efficient in 2022 running these drills, but it wasn't like anybody was like, whoa. It was just efficient and accurate. And if you watched it every day, you're like, wow, this guy every day is efficient and accurate.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what I see out of Mordecai. He's just kind of efficient and accurate. And what I don't see is I don't see even the basics of efficiency and accuracy from Dobbs or Allen. So I think Purdy's their best quarterback. I think Mordecai is going to do a better job of moving the team than Allen or Dobbs. They'll probably still start with Dobbs as number 2, but I wouldn't be surprised if Mordecai showed enough to either, force them to cut Brandon Allen, or, you got to remember this. I mean, if Tanner Mordecai plays well, the rest of the league knows the Niners have the hot hand when it comes to identifying, quarterbacks. So they got Brock Purdy. If Tanner Mordecai leads the team to success in the preseason, he will be picked up by somebody at the cutdown. So if he plays well in the preseason, he's going to force their hand, or they're going to lose him. And the question is, how good is he? And I don't know that he's great, but I'll say this. I love the skill set. You're talking about a guy with really impact speed who throws the short and intermediate pass well, comes out on time with accuracy. He doesn't have Brock Purdy kind of touch down the field, or, he doesn't have the ability to layer a ball over a defender. He's a little bit more of a one-speeded thrower, but he's better than these other guys. And I mean,
it's not a high bar.
I'm watching Brandon Allen, I'm watching Josh Dobbs, and I'm watching Tanner Mordecai, and I'm like, wait a second. Those guys look kind of scattershot. Mordecai looks like in total command. Yeah. So we'll see what it looks like this summer when the pads come on. But you got to remember this: 4.45 speeder, 4.46. That's cooking.
He ran at SMU.
That is cooking. And when you watched him run at Wisconsin, like when he scrambled, he scrambles down the middle of the field like a player who's not afraid to take hits, which is bizarre. And then to hear his coach say that he was an incredible leader and that he's just, to me, when you're smart, you're athletic, you're tough, you're a great leader, you know what? That's enough good traits. I'm interested. I mean, we're talking about an undrafted free agent. Right. And if you think you can catch lightning in a bottle, like personally, I think quarterback's the hardest position to evaluate. It's really hard. I personally like the guy Austin Reed, who's at Western Kentucky, who's now with the Bears. I like Tyson Bagent.
Rockets.
I like both those guys. I may even like him a little bit more than Caleb. And a lot of people would be like, that's crazy. But you know what? What isn't crazy is that the success rate on first-round quarterbacks is probably sub 50% in the last 25 years.
That's right.
So most of these guys that were drafted in the first round are going to be a bust.